Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. This is where we throw the money in the bag. We beat Vegas every week. Last week was huge. Week 12 is going to be another historic week for us. And remember last week, I told you guys it was a turning point week. It was a week where everyone was having problems. I saw Vegas made a lot of money last week, but you want to know what? We were right on about everything. And I am starting to live stream a little bit early because I know a lot of you guys are traveling for Thanksgiving and you probably can't be here live. So I came on a little bit early. I also have a few soccer bets tonight. If you're following my Patreon, you will see that. Anyone who's been following my Patreon, they knows I'm hot. I'm extremely fuego this week with the soccer picks. The reason why you're seeing me in a weird angle is because I need to get close to my computer and I bought a new camera. And so I had to put the camera at a different angle because I need to be close to read your questions. And I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. I hope your Thanksgiving was good. The football games, it was fun watching Deshaun ball out. And I'm sure we all had a good time doing that. But the football games were rather disappointing, especially when you look at Dallas's performance. It gets a little bit sickening after a while. Remember what the Bills did to them last year on Thanksgiving? It's just, it doesn't matter how good the Cowboys are or how much we have to hear about the Cowboys. Either way, they're going to choke. Mr. Pavalava, he sends a super chat. Thanks for the content. I appreciate it, my man. I really appreciate you. Thank you for sharing, spreading the word about the YouTube show. It's been growing at an astronomical rate, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate the super chat too. JSUP 121, where are the soccer bets on my bookie? For some reason, I couldn't find them. You have to go to Brazil, and that's how you get to the leagues I put on the Patreon. Sometimes my bookie, like, the site will go kind of dead for 15 minutes. Like, the site will work, but you won't be able to access a lot of bets on there. It's just like NFL. That means they're updating stuff. And take a deep breath, my friend. You will get your bet in before. But I had some crazy things happen with my bookie. One time I thought they were preparing to steal $3,000 from me. But someone asked me about Bovada on Patreon. I guess I'll answer that now. I have nothing against Bovada, and they have a lot of good teasers. They have a lot of good soccer picks, and Bovada was my go-to. But last year they banned me without notice. And I think it was because I was winning too many bets. So they banned me. They said, we're going to send you back your money you have on your account, but you are officially banned. So if you win too many bets on Bovada, they're going to give you guys the ban hammer. It's just saying that right now. That's why I prefer a few others now. And I know Bovada, like I said, I don't have too many bad things to say about it, but we're in the business of winning bets, and that means they'll probably ban you if you're anyone like me. But it was a good run with Bovada, but it wasn't like I won 20 G's or 25 G's or 100K from them. I literally won 7,000 just in the NFL season. It was only 7K. And they still banned me. So if you win money there, you're going to get some problems. All right, let me get to the Patreon questions first, and I'll get to the questions in the live chat. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the video. Joey Diablo's in the house, home of the money pick. Jackass Kid, money, money, money. Yeah, that's the chant we like to hear. Zamora 6090's in the building. He's in the building. Thank you for coming in. Jewel 626. They keep pushing back the Ravens versus Steelers game. Yeah, that's turning into quite a circus. I actually think it could be pushed back to the week 18 slot. They decided, if you guys are familiar with that. Okay, I'm going to get to the Patreon questions. Um, from Anthony Torres, do you think the Bucks might take the W against the Chiefs, and do you like the over? I'm not familiar with the over right now, but I remember I picked under, so I wasn't too big a fan of it. I'm not a big fan of betting over unders anyways. But when we look at this Bucks Chiefs game, I'm starting to have questions about Bruce Arians, and it's easy to focus on Tom Brady. It's easy to focus on the passing game on the Bucks, but I'm starting to get worried about Bruce Arians because he isn't running the ball enough, and they need run pass balance. And Tom Brady's getting hit too much. That's why I'm not giving the Bucks a big chance against the Chiefs. Listen, I think the Bucks can lose this game, and I still think they can get to the playoffs, and I still think they could be dangerous. But with the current landscape, with the current play calling from Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians, I'm not liking it, man. I am just not liking it right now. Blago, hey, John, what about the Browns at -6.5? I heard that 2 of the Jags wide receivers are out. Thank you. Also, Mike Glennon will be playing, so that will always help. I like the Browns -6.5. I wouldn't behead you if you bet it, but it is just a wee bit too many points for me. But that is one game I am targeting this week. As everyone knows, I put up my official bets on the Patreon page normally Friday night for the NFL. So that is one I am pondering, Blago. Jay Smith, John, I love your picks. You killed it on Denver and Houston last week. Thank you, sir. Can you watch soccer that I can bet on from William Hill? I'm glad you enjoy the Brazil round, but more mainstream would be appreciated, like the English Premier League. Do you see the NFL as a chalk favorite this week? Okay, I am working on that. I'm going to get some Bundesliga bets and English Premier League going. But you have to remember, I only have so much time in a day. I can only watch so much soccer and NFL in one day. Once NFL ends, I'll have plenty of English Premier League and Bundesliga bets. But let me tell you something about the EPL. It is literally the most bet on league in the world, and thus it is hard. Like I remember last week, someone asked me a question about Tottenham, and I told them bet Tottenham big against Man City. Yes, I'm good at it. Yes, I will get you these picks, but with the NFL, I just haven't had enough time because I don't want to give you guys BS picks. I want to give you guys money picks. I want to give you guys well-documented, well-researched picks. But yes, that will be coming around the turnpike. My bad on that. I never really liked the EPL odds I get. I've won money betting it before, and I will get back to it again. NFL's almost over. Chad Hatcher, what's the most you've ever lost on a coin toss? Chad, I would never bet a coin toss. And if one of you is betting a coin toss, I don't even want you guys coming on this page anymore. Because that's just throwing money in the sky and giving it to Mr. Vegas. It really makes me mad when people bet coin tosses. Here's Craig. Money, money, money. Next game. Hello, sir. Do you think you can give us a best bet, 2 or 3 team parlay or teaser? Yeah, you'll get it as this show goes on. I just uploaded my teaser videos. Make sure you check that out. Here's a quick teaser. I would go Bears to cover, Giants money line, and Raiders to win in the cover. That's a quick one, but there's a lot of different directions we'll go, and we'll get to it as the show goes on. Polo Scott, would you take the Browns -6.5 now that we know Glennon is the starter? Polo, I'm very, very tempted for that. We are at borderline money pick territory with the Browns. We've been winning with the Browns lately. I am a little bit nervous about that, but yes, I'm probably going to go with the Browns as a money pick. Polo Scott, he says he loves the Raiders -3 versus the Falcons this week. Money pick. Yeah, it's a borderline money pick. The more I think about it, the more I think the Raiders are going to take care of business. This is from Mr. Copeland Lewis. Hear me out, Lawson. I feel like Tampa Bay +3.5 is a good pick because we seen last week that Tom Brady struggled against a good pass rush, but we also seen that last week the Chiefs versus the Raiders, they don't really have an elite pass rush like the Rams, except for Chris Jones. You're pretty much right about that. Do we think the Chiefs defense can really keep up with this Tampa offense? My problem is the run-pass balance on Tampa. They need to run the ball. They need to get the 50% run-pass balance. And also a problem that's a big problem for the Bucs is teams have been blitzing them because they're so predictable with the pass game. They don't fear a big run or they don't fear like a draw on third down, so they'll send outside blitzes and everyone's all-out pass rush every single snap. That's the problem. If everyone knows against the Raiders, you don't know it's going to be a pass. But when you play the Buccaneers, everyone knows they're going to pass, and they're just passing too many times. And I've seen this problem with Bruce Arians' offenses before. Also, I'm not a huge fan of how this Buccaneers secondary matches up with this Chiefs receiving core and tight end core. Let's be realistic. Felix Duran, what would be your best money pick for this week 12 NFL games? I just need one. Could you please help, John? You're the best. Yes, I will. I will write that to you later today because I'll be back on Patreon. So I'll write that to you later today. And I want to thank you guys for joining the room. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to get to the YouTube community questions. Then I'll get to the question. Actually, I'm going to just go straight to the live chat today. So if you have a question, leave it in the live chat. I appreciate you guys. Cade Self, Cowboys suck. I agree. The Cowboys are just really, really sickening, and the story is getting old of them always choking. Jeff O, what do you think about the Chargers in Buffalo this Sunday? Can the Chargers cover the +5.5? Jeff, I love the Chargers to cover, but I do wish that was a little bit more. I was hoping when it would open, it was going to be like a +7, a +6.5. But yes, I like the +5.5. I don't know if I will make it a money pick. Last week I had the Jets to cover as a money pick against the Chargers, but I respect the Chargers, especially Herbert. And I think there's a possibility the Chargers actually win that game against the Bills, but like I said, it was a little bit of a mental block with the +5.5 because I thought Vegas was going to open that at +7, +7.5. So once again, Vegas is catching up to us, but we'll keep ahead. BB says take the Giants -6 this week. Yeah, I'm telling everyone Giants money pick on the money line. I know people are getting like -260, -280 on that, but I feel like that's guaranteed money. And then there is a sneaking suspicion that tells me I could see the Bengals somehow covering this game because, listen, the Giants have been playing good football, but they are not a good team. They are not going to blow anyone out. I don't care who's the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. Coco Bongo, Mike McCarthy was drinking the wild turkey for sure. I don't know what he's doing, but he's eating too much, and he honestly looks out of shape. And, you know, he is the coach of America's team. He does have an image to uphold, and now he's literally looking worse than Matt Patricia. Sean Wees, official. Can the Jags cover 9.5? Are you talking about teasing that to 9.5? Yeah, I think they can, because the Browns haven't blown out anyone. They dominated the Eagles. They only won by 3. They got whooped a little bit by the Raiders, but that was still a close game. And the Browns completely dominated the Texans. Yeah, that was still a close game. The Browns can dominate and the game stays close. So that's one logic behind Jacksonville covering. But also Jacksonville, we don't know how dedicated they're going to be, and Jacksonville really can't stop that run. So that there is always danger. There is always danger. I think Browns win by a touchdown. So I understand if you wanted to do that +9. John Wynn, how's it going, John? It's going good. My bad. I started the stream a little bit early. I got a few soccer bets tonight. Had some festivities with family today, so just had to get this in a little bit earlier. My bad about that. I try to be on schedule. Also, I have a prop bet show coming tonight with a special guest. That will be a new show I'm going to do throughout the year. So I'm looking forward to it. Brooke Barron, Panthers or Vikings? Who are you taking, Lawson? Love your show, by the way. Thank you, Brooke. I guess your thought is as good as my thought because my opinion hasn't changed about this game since I first saw it. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I don't know what Panthers team we're going to see. I don't know what Panthers quarterback we're going to see. And also, I don't know what type of Minnesota motivation level we're going to see. Listen, I felt like Dallas played good against Minnesota. I felt like Minnesota showed up and they played hard, but Minnesota just made too many mistakes, and they had numerous chances to put the Cowboys away in that game, and they didn't. So when you got a team like the Panthers who play really hard every week, they got Matt Rule and an interesting offense that keeps defenses guessing, you do think they can manufacture points. And this Minnesota defense is rather weak at times, and they certainly can't rush the passer. So I think it's a close game either way, and I think this is going to be a very competitive and physical football game. I think the Vikings show up, and I think they take care of business. But this game could go either way. Let's be realistic. This is one I would watch for fun, but I wouldn't bet on it. I just want it because we got too many questions about both teams. V player 123, where do you bet? I bet a wide variety of places. I'm using 3 right now. One is Brazilian, and the other 2 you can access. Mybookie.ag, sportsbetting.ag. I've been using 2. I've been getting better odds using 2, and then I also used the Brazilian one, but that's not open to you guys. Brooke Barron, Titans Indy, who's going to win? The more I think about it, the more I like the Titans in this upset. I did pick the Colts officially, but I picked the Titans to cover. But the more I think about it, I think the Titans take care of business. And I really liked that Titans +4. I really liked that spread when I saw it. Now it's down to 3.5, 3. But if you can get the Titans +4, I would feel very, very comfortable with that. John G 291. What are the odds Matt Patricia is fired this weekend? No, they won't. They won't. Listen, I was against the Matt Patricia coaching hire when he was hired. You can go back and watch the very, very old videos. And I've been against it ever since. And he's shown absolutely nothing. And he has lost his team. He looks unmotivated, but also I don't know if he's healthy enough to coach an NFL team, and his team certainly plays like it. His team always plays without motivation, and then he spent so much money on defensive players, but they all played for the Patriots, and he wonders why his defense sucks. And listen, he's left this Detroit team much worse than the previous coaches left it. They used to be a solid 8-9 win team. You would say, damn, maybe Detroit could pull the corner. They've been one of the worst teams in this league for the last 2-3 years. And that's with spending more money. That's with having Matt Stafford. That's with having Galladay. I mean, this team has spent so much money on free agencies, yet there's been no return. Coron, do you like Kelsey and Tyreek Hill this week? Yeah, I do, but let me just say something right now. I need to just get my vape. One sec. Let me just say something right now, though. I don't think Tyreek the Thrill Hill is going to have a huge game. If I had to pick a fantasy player to go off on the Chiefs, I would pick Travis Kelce, because who the hell is going to cover him? And that Buccaneer secondary does have some weaknesses, and it's very, very hard to match up on Kelce. Very, very hard. Marcus Lane says Bills to win and cover. I like the boldness. They're going to have their hands full. I think that's a fourth quarter game, my friend. I don't. If you bet that, I think you're going to be sweating in that fourth quarter. Patty Giant, John, I love you. Keep up the grind, bro. Appreciate it. Nothing slowing down here, man. You guys are helping me grow, and I'm going to keep putting in the work and getting you guys some money. That's what we do here, and we've been doing it very successfully this year. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share the videos. Lots of exciting things coming for the rest of this year. Steve Whitaker, my lock of the year, Raiders plus 100. I'm throwing 5K down. What do you think, John? I can't see the Atlanta defense holding this high-powered Raiders offense. I like that. When I first saw this game, I was a little bit cautious. I was thinking, okay, I like the Raiders to win in the cover, but I don't know if this is the money pick. But the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking about this big, nasty offensive line and Josh Jacobs going downhill against a small and not physical Atlanta defense. I really like the Raiders to control this game, and I think they control it from a physical aspect. Yes, this Raiders offense is high-powered. Yes, they got good options, and they might have the best tight end in the league, but it's more about them being physical and them fighting for every inch and them making the opposing team bleed and suffer as the game goes on, them controlling time and possession, the Raiders defense getting good rest and coming back on the field fresh because they actually get to sit on the bench, unlike a lot of defenses in this league. So yes, I do like the Raiders. I do think it's a little bit bold with the 5K, but then again, when we're looking at fundamentals, when we're looking at what has made us the money thus far, whenever the Raiders play a team that's got a weak or fugazi front seven, what do? They go out and win. Look at how the Raiders even beat the Browns, and the Browns got a good front seven. It was bad weather. The California, Nevada team in bad weather, normally they just completely fold, right? But they didn't. They were the more physical team than a very good running Cleveland team as well. So I like the way you're going there. I like the way you're going there, Steve. Richard Edenfeld, will the Packers beat Chicago? Yeah, I think the Packers will win, but I think the big question about this spread is, well, I think the big question is Green Bay going to blow Chicago out? And I don't think so. We've seen the Bears look really, really bad at times this year. There's no way to sugarcoat it. And they got maybe one of the worst offensive lines in the league, and they got one of the worst run games in the league. But I think Chicago will be able to create some things on offense using Cordero Patterson. I think this Packers defensive line, they're not dominant, and they're not going to dominate anyone. So I think the Bears will have a better running attack. And the main reason why I like the Bears to cover this is their defense. And I like the way their defense is playing. And I think this Packers offense lacks explosion. Sure, they had a big week against the Colts last week, but I've been saying all year that Colts secondary is really, really, really vulnerable. So I think the Bears defense has a good game. I think the Packers still win it, but I really like the Bears to cover. Okay. Delaney and Yo, what are your NFL picks? That's pretty much what I do all week, Delaney. It's pretty much what I do all week. I got a lot of videos up. What's your upset of the week? I would say my upset of the week, I like Denver possibly to get it done, but I'm going to probably bet them against the spread. And I think an upset that I'm thinking of is the Tennessee Titans at the Colts. The more I'm analyzing this game, the more I'm seeing what's going to transpire, the more I think Tennessee can deliver it. So that would be an upset. Delaney, I post everything I bet on the Patreon. But of course, you guys know I'm not frugal with you. If you give me the right question, you're going to get some information. Heath Gas, Tampa, can they cover the spread? No. I talked about it a little bit earlier. I'm sure I'll have to talk about it again as the live podcast goes on. But I don't like the direction of Tampa Bay's coaching at the moment. I don't trust Bruce Arians to keep and maintain run pass balance. And that's the thing that's really hurting Brady. And I'm not making excuses for Brady. Brady hasn't played good enough against the good to elite teams in this league. We all know that. I don't need to be Captain Obvious. But Bruce Arians deserves a lot of this blame with the play calling, the play design, and they need to run the ball. Brady can't throw it 45, 50 times. And this is one thing he did with Jameis too. Jameis would have to throw it 50 times in a game, and they wouldn't be able to pass block, and we'd wonder why there were so many interceptions. Then Bruce Arians doesn't take any of the blame. Okay, let's get it. Calvin Sutton, is the Colts a dark horse if Rivers don't throw stupid picks? Yes, I could see the Colts being a dark horse, but here's why I don't think they are, because that secondary is vulnerable. And I think their pass rush is a bit overrated. I like their front seven when they're stopping the run. But I think if a team wants to straight up shotgun, we're going to throw it 40 times against you. We're going to try to hit you deep. That's where I think the Colts are vulnerable. And look at this AFC, my friend. You got to go through the Chiefs. You got to go through the Bills. You got to go through the Steelers. All those teams have been throwing the ball really, really well. But I think the Colts could possibly knock off the Bills, Steelers. But how the hell are they going to cover the Chiefs? I don't see it. But no, I see what you're saying, because Philip Rivers has surprised me these last few weeks. But I just wonder, how long is this going to go on? Okay, one sec. Let me check my Patreon. Let me check my Patreon. I'm not seeing your comment on Patreon. What flavor vape juice and nic level? It's the strongest nicotine level on the market that New York allows, and it's mint, actually, because it's the only flavor you can get here. Although I will be getting some blueberry next week. And someone asked me if I lived in Brazil. No, but I stay there like 3 to 6 months, and I have a tax identification code there, so I can use Brazilian services. And plus, I'm there a lot, so I use the betting system there, and actually on there I get way better odds. But it's cool. It's cool. So that's the situation. I'll be back there probably in a month. I'm getting sick of this cold, man. Chris DeFore, a lot of sharks got the Jets upsetting. Chris, you mean me? You mean me? You mean me? I haven't heard many people picking the Jets except me. No, who picked the Jets to cover last week besides me? I'll wait. Where are these sharks? You should just say Lawson. I mean, damn, where are these sharks? They certainly don't put anything out into the atmosphere that people can go back and watch later. They should say sharks. Okay. Yeah, this is what I was trying to say, Pocket. They need to stay the hell away from that. I think there's no reason to touch this Carolina or Minnesota game, whether it be the over-under or betting the point spread or betting the money line. There's just more you can lose here than win, and sometimes you guys need to understand that. New sub here. Are the Jets ever going to win a game? I think the Jets have a chance to win this week against Miami. Good that you brought that up. The Jets are getting a little bit better. And when you have a Greg Williams defense, you know you're going to get some plays. You know you're going to get at least some physical football. But the offense is so poorly coached. That's what's really holding them back. Although I do think the Jets steal a win before the season ends. But they're running out of time. And this week against Tua, who's struggling right now, it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity. Christopher Campos, do you think must-win teams will cover? Could you phrase that a different way? Like, what's a must-win team? Like the Ravens? They're a team that's in a must-win situation. You could say like the 49ers are, but I'm not so sure about that. You could say Minnesota's in a must-win situation, but I wouldn't want to bet them to cover against Carolina. You could say the Dolphins are in a must-win situation, and I wouldn't bet them to cover against the Jets, if that makes sense. John, what do you think about the Titans +8 and Panthers +10? Why are we touching this Panthers game? I don't understand why we need to be autistic and just only focus on like one game when there's lots of other games to bet. I don't like the Panthers +10 because if you look at the history of below average teams going to Minneapolis, normally Minnesota covers the spread. Normally they do. Like you could just go back throughout the history of Minnesota. They do very well against below average teams at home. Not that it's the same home field condition. There's no fans in the Dome Stadium, so it doesn't really help them much. But it's just the Vikings could easily win that like by 14, but they could easily lose it by 3 or 7 points to the Panthers. That's one reason why I'm not seeing clarity in this game. And I watched every single Minnesota Vikings game this year, and I watched 5 Carolina Panthers games. If the film's telling you the Panthers are going to win, that's fine. But the film isn't saying anything to me. The film's saying we don't know what the hell's going to happen here and buckle up. That's what the film's saying to me. Colts over Tennessee. I could see that. Tennessee +10 or nothing. Yeah. I didn't put Tennessee on my teaser picks. I actually forgot about them. But Tennessee +10 is something I should have added. Make sure you guys go check out that teaser video. Teaser video is now up. I was a little bit late uploading it. Got a late Friday start, but whatever. Make sure you guys check out that teaser video. Check out that teaser video. Steven, does the Denver money train continue to roll this weekend? I think it does. And you guys all know I'm cautious about us dipping our paws one too many times in the cookie jar, but I'm liking how this is set up for us. And the Saints could easily win that game. Okay, but does that really matter? I think this game's a close game. And like, let's say the Saints are up 14 in the fourth quarter. Drew Lock's going to get that garbage touchdown, all right? And so that's why I like this game from all angles. I do think it's a close game. I do think it's a close game decided in the fourth quarter. But even if the Saints are up double digits in the second half, I like the Broncos' chances. And the Broncos' conditioning and that altitude is so much better than other teams. It's ridiculous in the fourth quarter. Ask the LA Chargers about that. Look at their gigantic lead. So I think that is an interesting opportunity for us. I don't see it slowing down. If you're going to go really bold and bet Denver outright to win, you might get some heartbreak, but that +6 feels really comfortable from where I'm sitting right now. Okay, Browns -3. Yeah, I like that Browns a lot better if you can tease it down, but I don't know what the odds would look like after you did that. Robert Cherner, how do I get on Patreon? Link is in the description. It's only $5 a month. The Patreon's only $5 a month. That's all I ask. And then you get all my picks. It's pretty cool. And it's just about helping me help you. And okay. Everyone watching this, hit the like button. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And that like button's so important. Like, seriously. Like, that's how you guys can help me. If you can't join the Patreon, I understand. Money's tight. But one thing that isn't tight is taking the mouse and just hitting the like button so my video shows up and I can get a bigger audience. It really helps. It really helps, guys. Daniel, where in New York are you? I'm near Syracuse. It's not the best up here. Renisha Brown. Oh, she's got a hot take. Please don't put your hard-earned money on the Raiders. This might be a letdown spot for them, especially if Julio Grant Stone Jones plays. Okay, I respect your opinion. Graniche has been in the trenches with me betting for a long time. So while I don't agree with her, I respect her opinion. And it's always good to be cautious in this business. X-Loss Zombie. Seahawks, Giants, and Raiders all on the money line. Love your vids. Yeah, yeah. I can see that. I'm a little bit nervous about that Philly game, though. If we're talking about upsets this week, if we're talking about something that's going to leave us flabbergasted and saying, how the hell did that happen? That was absolutely nuts. That's bonkers. Are we rolling out the Eagles somehow putting forth a win? And just a disclaimer, I've watched all 60 minutes of the last 3 Eagles games, and they look as bad as you can imagine. They can't even snap a ball in shotgun correctly to Carson Wentz. So they are bad, no doubt about it. But crazy things have happened. The Seahawks have one of the worst defenses in this league. If Wentz doesn't get going this week against Seattle, when does he get going? When do we start thinking about Jalen Hurts getting a shot here? I'm not saying bench Wentz permanently, but I think it might be time to give Wentz a week off if he can't get it going against the Seahawks. Because if he can't get it going against the Seahawks, it's a confidence issue to me. It really is. It becomes a psychological issue for me if he can't get it going against the Seahawks. So that's one thing we need to keep going. Abdul G. Odds on the Jets going winless. I'm sure the odds are pretty high for the Jets to go winless, but I still think they got an opportunity, and this week is a big opportunity. And I don't think the Steelers go undefeated, but my boy Mike Tomlin pleasantly surprises me. So so don't bet against Mike Tomlin. Don't bet against. What led Cup and Woods to have such a big day against the Bucs secondary? I think it's a poor. I think it's a bad secondary, but I also think it's a poor scheme by Todd Bowles. And Todd Bowles, he has a really good scheme for stopping the run, so I understand why he wanted to stop the run first. But they just didn't make enough plays. But also, I felt like that Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense actually played pretty well to keep them in the game with the 3 and outs from the Buccaneers, with the turnovers from the offense. But yeah, Todd Bowles teams, you can really cook them. He plays a lot of predictable man-to-man, and he doesn't really disguise it well. That's one of his problems. Also, their secondary is pretty weak. Yeah, I'm just sometimes I try to figure that out, and I don't mean to be rude to people about certain games because you can be seeing something I am not seeing. But like I said, there's so much more meat on that turkey to bite off. Why do we have to go after the wing when it's not the best piece of meat on the turkey? Vikings cover like 80% after a loss. I think I heard that somewhere. Yeah, but I don't put big stock into that. But yeah, I think Vikings are going to bounce back. Like, at least they looked motivated and interested against the Cowboys. They didn't play great, but at least they looked motivated. Some teams in this league, you don't even know if they're going to show up. Yeah, and I agree with you guys in the live chat. I'm actually seeing a lot more fight from Carr this year. And that's one reason why I like watching the Raiders play. They fight, and they're playing 80s, 90s football, which is actually really nice to watch when it works well. Jeff O, when analyzing games, deciding your picks, which do you believe is more important to consider? Previous offensive or defensive play? Normally offensive play, although you guys know I love defense. I go heavy on defense. One thing I look at though is how likely is, like, let's say the Bucks against the Chiefs. I'm looking at firstly, like, how dangerous is that Chiefs defense? Can they force turnovers? And then let's ask another question about this offense. Are they a team that is turnover prone? Are they organized, or can they get flustered? Are they going to throw it 40 times, or are they going to have run pass balance? So it's a little bit of everything. I would say offensive performance because, like, for instance, if a team doesn't have run pass balance and they're not Pat Mahomes or Aaron the Game Rodgers, that should be a red flag for you. It should be a red flag. And then I also look at defensive matchups because every offense matches up against a defense in a different shape and form. And so it's really complicated. I mostly look at matchups, and then I go to, is this offense going to turn it over? Is this defense turnover hungry? And then I look at coaching. Coaching is also an important part of what I look at, especially because these games come down to late game situations. They're normally one-score games in the fourth quarter. That's when the coaching comes out, and we need to take coaching seriously when we make our bets. We need to. Yo, Dom Rossetti, Carolina hasn't had a bye, it's just like Tampa. These can be tired teams. I did not know that. That is a really interesting tidbit you wrote there, because I did not know that Carolina and Tampa were in that situation. Guys, just give me 2 minutes. I will be back in 2 minutes. I just need to use the bathroom and get a cup of water. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Make sure you hit that like button. Okay, guys, thank you for waiting. Thank you for waiting. Just to warn you guys, I got a new show coming with a special guest. I'm thinking of uploading it tonight or tomorrow morning. It's NFL prop bets, where we talk prop bets for the NFL. I actually found a few money picks, and I'm working with a sponsor called Thrive Fantasy, and they were the influence for this video. So I'll be talking about them on this specific video, but make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure you check out this new video. Alex Yuarty. I don't know if you pronounce that T or not. I'm usually pretty fucking good with pronouncing last names, but I can't make that one out. Yuarte. Love your show, brother. How do you feel about the Cardinals, Raiders, and Giants to cover? Like the Raiders. I like the Giants, but I feel like that one's a little bit risky. I feel like it's a little bit risky, and that it has a bit of a trap written all over it, because while the Giants have been playing better football, it is something that should make you nervous, even with Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon out. And I'm blanking on who are the Cardinals playing. Who are the Cardinals playing? Let me check. I'm just completely blanking right now. Let's look. Oh, New England. Dude, I would stay away from that Arizona game because, yes, It is a money pick for Arizona, but they don't travel well, and we don't know the weather in Foxborough because the Patriots are going to just dominate if it's like freezing rain or if it's snow. And I hate to go to that level. And you guys know I don't go too crazy with the weather, but that's one game where we really need to watch the weather. Manolo Blanco, send a detail for buy the picks. You don't even need to buy my picks. Just go to my Patreon. The link is in the description. Patreon.com/Lawson show. It's easy. It's just $5, and it's not even like you're buying picks because I post a lot on there, but it's more or less just to help the page out. That's just helping this page grow and helping us do what we need to do. And this is a one-man operation. So, Guillermo, what did you think about the Cowboys, bro? The Cowgirls. Yeah, it was pathetic, but this is what happens when you have people like Mike McCarthy as a coach. But at a certain point, I think this whole organization is just sick. I don't think there's a good culture in that organization. Like, remember last year when they got blown out by the Bills on Thanksgiving? Either way, there's just going to be so many games where Dallas doesn't show up or they're completely out-coached. And I don't know what to make of it at this point. I really don't know what to make of it. I was 3-1 on my money picks last week, and I lost my only game because Minnesota lost to the Cowboys. So, yes, I am pretty damn frustrated about that. Yes, we made money. Yes, we made a lot of money. But damn, dude, that's how I'm losing on the fucking Cowboys showing up against Minnesota. And then on Thanksgiving, they get blown out by a pretty poor Washington team. It's just pathetic. Okay, Giants money line. Yeah, I like this. I like this teaser. The Jags to 10.5 makes me a little bit weary, but the other ones I feel comfortable with. Let me get to the more questions. Tasha, what about taking the team total? Do you think the Titans score over 23.5 points? Let me think about that for a second, Tasha. Yeah. I was actually thinking the Titans were going to put up 24 points. And when I was thinking about this game earlier in the week, that's how you know Vegas is good. I thought of a number for the Titans that I think is realistic, and then Vegas is literally right on the dot. But I would go over, and I think that has a chance to be more than my 24 points I said, because I think this is going to be a close game in the fourth quarter. Hell, it could even be another overtime game. It could. Okay, let's go to King Carriday. If Tua is hurt, should I fade the Dolphins? You have it all the way wrong. If Tua's hurt, you got to bet the Dolphins because Fitzpatrick brings this offense to a different level. You can look at the stats, but you can also look at the film. Look at Devontae Parker's production since Tua's been in there. And Tua was benched last week. That wasn't an injury concern. He was benched by Brian Flores. And I don't agree with benching him. But I never agreed with starting him in the first place. But I think Flores is messing with the kid's head a little bit when he benched him against Denver. Because we all knew Denver was going to be a tough game. We all know Denver plays quite a bit different in that mile-high altitude. And so Brian Flores throws the young quarterback out there, and he has to live with his decision. But he didn't. Then he pulls him. Now you're psychologically messing with the kid's head. Really, the only way forward for the Dolphins at this point is to reinstate Ryan Fitzmagic as starting quarterback. If that happens, we need to lay off the Jets because that Dolphins team is different when he's under center. And I don't want people to keep coming and bringing up the Rams game to me where Tua had 88 passing yards. He had 88 passing yards, and people are saying 2 is the truth because they beat the Rams. guys ever heard of the word anomaly? Okay. Bukumo. I got the Raiders, Giants, Seahawks all to cover. What do you think? Dude, I don't like that Seahawks one all that much. I don't like that Seahawks one all that much. But I can't say it's like terrible or that there's no chance the Seahawks will win and cover. I just don't like that Seahawks one all that much. Because Seahawks could win by a field goal. And Seahawks blow games too. Like, remember against Arizona? Are the Jets going to win a game this year? Yes, they will. They will. They will. Okay, I think I'm behind on your comments. So let me go down to the newer ones. And if I missed your comment, leave it again. Leave it again if I missed your comment. I think the Raiders -3 and Chiefs -3.5 are trap games. I think that Chiefs one might be a trap game. I understand what you're saying there. The Raiders one, I think that's like easy to say, but it's just because Atlanta's inconsistent and sometimes they show up. But I think the Raiders are for real this year. I've been trying to warn everyone about this Raiders team all year. I think they're for real, and I think they play a type of football that is consistent and that travels well. When you're running that ball up the middle, it travels well. Jewel and any upsets, I'm thinking about the Jets against Dolphins. I know the Broncos will cover against the Saints, but I think that'll be a one possession game as well. And there's no science to this one upset, but like I said on this podcast earlier, I think the Eagles will put up a fight. I don't know what's going to transpire. I don't know if they even have enough moxie and confidence to pull off the win. But I think that Eagles-Seahawks game is close, too. I don't think that's a walk away for the Seahawks. I think Philly has a good chance to pull that upset. I really do. And there's no other way to get confidence for a quarterback who's struggling than put up the 32nd defense in the league against them. Jewel and not feeling the Chargers upsetting the Bills. No. I'm feeling it in a way. But this Chargers defense, they haven't came to play this year. And that's one thing that's bothering me. I like the Chargers to cover. I think they keep it close. And I don't even know if I have it as a money pick for the Chargers to cover because I was really hoping we would get that Chargers at +7, +8. But it didn't transpire. It's only 5.5. But we have to see how the Bills are. I will be watching that Bills-Chargers game at 1 o'clock, and I will be thinking about live betting that. I think that is one you need a live bet. Because I want to see how the Bills come out and how they recover after that bye week, after that psychological just sledgehammer to the face when the Cardinals stole that game from them. It was crazy. Robert Cherner, do the 49ers show up the week after the bye? I think the 49ers show up, but I don't think this is going to be an off game for the Rams. I think the Rams are going to come in hungry and focused, and the Rams are playing good football right now. And when Jared Goff doesn't need play action, when he can drop back on 5 and 7 step drops and he can make completions without the play action game, without the run game being effective, whoa. The Rams are scary in that scenario. Do I think it will last? I don't think so. But that's what's happening right now. Jared Goff's playing really good football right now. And he's not relying on play action because we saw the Buccaneers stop that run game completely last week. Yeah, so let me get Style Bender. Just give me the over for Seattle and I can sleep good for once. I actually could see that pushing towards over. I could see that pushing towards over. I don't even know the over under right now, but just the sound of that game, if the Eagles are competitive, that's going to push to over. If the Eagles show up, that's going to push to over most likely. Um, Mahomes versus Brady, man. Kill Bill, Mahomes versus Brady. I like Mahomes in this matchup. It has nothing to do with Brady and his weapons. It's the coaching of the Buccaneers is one thing that's concerning me. There needs to be run pass balance. They need to use Ronald Jones. I'm a little bit sick of seeing Leonard Fournette out there. He just seems a step slow and a step unmotivated. I don't know what it is about him. I used to be the biggest Leonard Fournette fan there was. And you're looking at Bruce Arians, and you should ask yourself, Bruce Arians or Andy Reid? And Andy Reid will coach circles around Bruce Arians. And it really is starting to show up that Bruce Arians is average at best and that he is hyped up by the media. So that's what happens. Pat's beating the Cardinals. Depends on the weather. This reminds me of a game earlier in the season. Now, I'm not comparing the Patriots to the Jets, but do you guys remember when the Cardinals went to the New York Jets and everyone was a little bit cautious? Like, we knew the Cardinals were a lot better. We were even a little bit high on the Cardinals at this time, but we were a little bit cautious for them to win and to cover. Then they go out and blow out the Jets. But the difference here with the Patriots is the Patriots are a little bit better, and they're certainly better coached than the Jets. But this Foxborough weather can completely change things. And it could really make this game complicated. Like, look at the Ravens when the Ravens lost to the Patriots. And you know it was freezing rain. You know when the Patriots are going to pull an upset this year, it's going to be because snow there, because they're not too good a team. And you saw last week when I told you guys to pick Houston over them. Houston won that game easy. Leave your questions if I missed them. If I missed your questions, just leave them again. Love the channel, Lawson. This is from Tim. Love the channel, Lawson. What do you think of the Atlanta, Tennessee teaser? I don't like Atlanta this week. I don't. But if you want to tease Tennessee to +6, +10, I would love. I would wholly support you doing that. That makes sense to me. Paul Holland, Lawson, does Pittsburgh lose or the Jets win first? Jets win first. Jets win first. But I think both are going to happen. I think the Jets are going to win and Pittsburgh's going to lose before the end of the year. Although I haven't looked at Pittsburgh's schedule in quite some time. So I don't know what's set up for them. But you got to think, okay, they play the Ravens. We know they got to play the Browns again. Browns are playing pretty good football. Bengals, they're completely decapitated at this point. I still think there's a loss here for the Steelers because even if they're 15-1, they're going to get home field advantage in the AFC. There's not much that is really important for them if they go 16-0. I know you get the bragging rights. I know you can make the T-shirts and sell them at the end of the year, but I don't think that hits their goals. I don't think that hits Mike Tomlin's goals to go 16-0. Really, the only thing you want is your team fresh, healthy, and you want home field advantage in the AFC playoffs because you don't want to go play the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Although I think they could win there because the defense. I think they could win there. Kado, Lawson, if you have one pick you're highly confident on, what would it be against the spread? There's a few I really like this week. Let me look at my papers. I don't know where they are. Let me bring it up on my computer. Okay, the one I like the most, probably Denver +6 against the Saints. I'm looking at others. I like Tennessee +4 a lot, but now it's down to +3. And let me see. Oh, and that Chargers Bills game it's down to like 4.5 now. Well, I'm definitely staying away from that now. And I like Chicago plus 9.5. Those are the two I like the most. I really like that Chicago at the plus 9.5. That's one I think you guys are sleeping a little bit on. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. This is the best gambling show on the internet for sure. NMC, Trubisky starting for the Bears Sunday. Yes, that's not a good thing. And I'm not going to try to frame it like it is a good thing. But with the way this Bears offense line has been playing, with how bad they've been, with how stagnant this offense is, I actually like it. I actually like it because we're not picking the Bears to win this game. We're picking them to cover the spread, and they need to be able to scrap points. And that's one thing, even with how bad Chicago's offense has been, they've been able to scrap points, whether it be special teams, defensive turnovers. Trubisky, he's good for 3 or 4 decent scrambles a game. That could actually really help this team because they can't run the ball at all. We saw them using Cordero Patterson as running back last game they had. I think Chicago comes in and plays this game strong because the defense. At this point, with how bad that Chicago offensive line is, I actually think Mitch Trubisky is an upgrade on Foles. Just given how bad the Chicago offense is at the time. If it was a functioning offense, if they could run the ball just a little bit better, if they actually had a decent offensive line, of course, Nick Foles is a lot better. Of course. But Mitch Trubisky in this situation, I actually like it, as scary as that sounds to say, especially against the Packers defense. He's actually played decent against the Packers in his career. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Get into the questions. Yes, it is. That's why I started the Patreon page, so you guys could support me during the off season. Of course, I'll make sure I put up the soccer picks there. Everyone sees that those are money. I think I'm 3-0, 4-0 this week already on the ones I posted up there. But yes, and that's why I started the Patreon page, because once the off season hits, the YouTube revenue is going to dip for sure. But that's why I did the Patreon and why I'm preparing for after. Yeah, Denver's my favorite play. Okay, let me get to your questions because sometimes I miss the questions, or I'll get off soon. Okay. Saints win by 3 points. All right, guys. I'm going to get off. Now. I have another video coming tonight. Sorry, I only stayed on like an hour. I'm sure all of you guys have a little bit of traveling to do with the Thanksgiving holiday. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you.